Can you guys hear me? Great. So, as way of introductions, I'm Daniel Graff-Radford, CEO at Allbound. We have a little table out there if you haven't met us. We are a PRM company that sold $100 billion of closed-won revenue through our portal in the last 3 years, and would love to meet you. We've decided to say, a couple things about ourselves. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And a fun fact is that as a young kid, I had a South African accent and a lisp, and I went to an American speech therapist. So the challenge at the yacht party is after a couple drinks, which one comes out first. And so this is also Daniel.
Hey everyone, I'm Daniel Dawson. I am the Senior Partner Marketing Manager at Aircall. For the last 6 years, I've been in partner marketing and really with a focus on tech and integration partners, driving net new revenue and leads from our partner ecosystem. My fun fact is I am a digital nomad, so half of the year I live in coastal North Carolina. The other half I'm in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. So if there are any other Mexico fans, hit me up and find me after. Next is Margot.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me with this mask on? Yes, right? Okay. I'm Margot. I lead our go-to-market strategic partnership team at HubSpot. I've been at HubSpot for a little over 4 years. My goal is driving net new acquisition through our strategic partners, and that covers everything from co-marketing to sales enablement to sales teams, everything you can imagine in the partnership side. My fun fact is that I'm a sommelier, so if there's anyone here who is a wine nerd, definitely find me after. I'll leave it to Chris.
Perfect. Can you all hear me? Yes. My name is Chris. I'm part of Google. I'm part of their strategic alliances or partnerships team, and specifically focusing on the go-to-market strategy of our key partnerships. And I've taken a couple of different roles at Google. I've been in account management, working with businesses of all sizes, all different types of business models in Central Europe. I've led the app strategy for Central Europe's largest app advertisers as well, which is a very, very interesting space as well to be in. And now, just want to say how great it is to be at a partnerships conference in person. I think that's one of the best ways to strike up partnerships. So excited to get to know some of you as well, maybe later. My fun fact is I'm actually a certified yoga teacher. So I traveled to India a few years back, got fully certified as a yoga teacher, and helped my back for sure. Won't be doing any of that today, but that's helped me stay grounded and calm as well. And all around great experience.
So obviously we're so impressed at partnership leaders, bringing such an amazing group together. These are true leaders in partnership, and learning how to partner with these amazing companies through these amazing people will be kind of the goal of this discussion today. So we've come up with a few questions that we think you guys would be interested in. The first one is, what are some tactics you employ to get noticed as a potential partner with these companies? We'll start with Chris.
Yeah, and I think that's a great question. I think being on the receiving side at Google for a lot of partnerships requests where I see them coming in and working with some of the largest partners on our end, I think I can talk a bit about key success factors of these outreaches. And simply said, I think it all starts with doing your homework on your own side. So being clear with what you bring to the table. What resources do you want to bring to the table? That can be your product. It can be your head count. It can be proprietary technology. It can make sometimes life easier. Whatever it is, whatever resource you're bringing to the table. You need to understand your TAM, your target audience. Ideally, you've done some kind of persona analysis. You know where they are, what they care about, what their pain points are, what would delight them, right? You've done all of that homework. But then a true partnership is a team, right? So ideally, you've done your homework on the other side as well. So you know what person you're talking to, what they care about. It's like in a friendship, you ask questions, right? And you've hopefully got a bit of common ground established beforehand as well. So that's a really nice organic way to reach out. It doesn't feel confrontational. It feels like it just kind of makes sense. The conversation flows, and that's a really good way of reaching out. And even as a smaller company, just to wrap that up, you've got tremendous benefits versus larger companies. For example, faster execution, more nimble business structures as well. And knowing that, leading with that, and building that on the common ground that you've established, I think, is a really good way.
That's really great. Daniel?
Yeah. So show of hands, who's actually reaching out and trying to source new partnerships or get noticed? Almost everyone. Awesome. So I think my overall tip is just make sure you're really using smart personalization. Mass emails, not really sure if partnerships is the place for that, especially when you're trying to source new partnerships with those key accounts. I think, ironically, one way that I got noticed as a smaller partner when I was trying to get noticed by a larger partner was responding to a marketing email, which was a mass email, not partnership specific, and really just responding and getting kind of the head of marketing to respond like, hey, people don't usually respond to these kind of emails. But when you're doing smart personalization, obviously LinkedIn is a great place to start. Look for common ground, look for their company history, background, schools, anything, what they've been posting, their activity. And if you can't find any of that, relevancy is the next best thing, right? As you're researching that company, doing your homework, they just got a new CSO or a new CEO. Hey, how does that affect your day-to-day person that I'm reaching out to? I do this, would love to talk about this, and have those really specific details. So that's my tip.
That's really great. Margot?
I think that's a great tip. I definitely want to echo what Chris said around doing your homework. HubSpot is very lucky in that we get a lot of people reaching out about new partnerships, which is amazing. I think that the advice I would give here is really, really do your research and make sure that your reach out is very specific. So what I want to see when a partner reaches out to me for a partnership is I want to see, hey, I'm this partner. I have this ICP, this is my customer, this is generally who my product talks to, this is how I think my product is going to be helpful to HubSpot's customer. Here's my goal in working with HubSpot. Here's what I want. I've looked at your partnership page. I have determined that the best avenue for me is going to be this type of partnership because XYZ, let's get on a call. I will take that call every single day. But we get a lot of partnership requests that are like, hi, we'd like to partner with you. How would you like to do that? You know what I mean? So I think definitely being very clear and saying exactly what you want from HubSpot is going to be really important. For me, I also source strategic partnerships. I go out to find the next big partner for HubSpot, and that's what I do as well. I also do a ton of research. I'll go in and sign up for their product. I'll take screenshots where I think HubSpot can be featured. I'll sign up for every single email newsletter of this company that I'm trying to source. I read the emails, I go in and say, oh look, they're featuring a partner on this page like this. I want HubSpot to be featured in the same way. I'll go and look at their G2 reviews. I'll go and look at what other products customers are using when they're using that product. I'll see if I have any relationships there. So it's for every partner that you try and source, really do your best in doing the research around what is going to be a good fit for your mutual customers and how they connect with their customers. Because you're going to save yourself a lot of time and you're going to find things out that may not, sometimes you think a partner is going to be the best partner in the world because they're a big name or whatever, but you do your research and you're like, oh, actually they don't talk to their customer in the same way that we do. They don't have the same type of customer that we do, right? So before you reach out and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about a partnership, really do your research around what you think that partnership is going to look like and what's the best case situation for you.
I love all of these answers. The level of work it takes for an important partnership, it makes sense to do all of those things. I'm lucky to be here today with 3 amazing people that are leaders at some of the best companies in the world with some of the best partner programs in the world. And so it'd be really interesting to know, what does a great partnership look like for you in your company? And what are some of the key partnerships that you're looking for today? We're going to start with Margot.
A great partnership for me, so I lead our go-to-market strategic partner team. So a great partnership for me might be different from a great partnership on our app marketplace team, for example. A great partnership for me generally is going to be with a partner that talks to the same customer, has the same type of voice and tone. That's something I look at. I'll read their blog, right? Are they communicating in the same way? Does the product integrate with HubSpot? If it doesn't integrate, it's not a deal breaker, but it should have some, alignment. We're talking to the same customer. They're using both products. A great partnership means that the partner I'm talking to both has marketing resources at their disposal that they can influence and are able to put them into motion, right? So many times you talk to a partner and you say, hey, we've got this amazing partnership. I would love for you to distribute that, communicate that to your customers. And they say, well, we don't really work well with the marketing team. Our social team doesn't really do this. We don't really send emails like that. We don't, whatever. That's really important because it could be a great big name partner, but if they don't have access to their marketing resources, it's not a partnership for me, period. We'll be working for years on nothing. So that is definitely a marker of a great partnership. For me, it's like, are their customers engaged? Do they just kind of use it once, or do they really use the platform? Do they listen to the partner as an advice, like almost a business consultant? You know what I mean? We're lucky at HubSpot where people come to HubSpot for information, and they trust HubSpot's information. I want that from my partners as well. I want my partners to be leaders in thought leadership, leaders in their field. I want their customers to trust them. Because if they don't trust them, it doesn't matter if they have access to their resources or not, right? They send an email, nobody reads it. So that's an important piece as well. Partners that are, for me, incredibly engaged are very important. My relationships are incredibly high touch. I talk to my partners every week, at least. We have really, really highly engaged partners, and that is important. If I'm sending out an email to my partner and we're trying to work on a campaign and you don't get back to me for 2 weeks, that's not a partnership for me. We both have to be aligned in working together and moving our goals forward.
That's great. Daniel?
Yeah, totally agree with all of that. Make sure your baseline's there, ICP, tone of voice, and all of those really important foundational things. For me, beyond that as well, what I look for in partnerships is really that win-win mentality that you're bringing to the table. That, Aircall saw extremely fast growth in the last 5 years. I joined Series B, we're Series D, from 200 to 700 people. I'm looking for that partner that will sit down and divvy up the work with me if you want to accomplish something. So that makes me very behaviorally driven with my partners. Of course, I will look at any past history we have, any activity, success, and just that seriousness. If that's not there and this is new, how have you shown your transparency and you're being easy to work with the foundational things as well. So for me, it's very much, what you're bringing to the table and just having that open, honest conversation. So when you have your book of business of partners and you have some people you're working with, I definitely encourage you evaluate them, using a process and a template and a system. Evaluate them, on those quantitative metrics. What's the MRR that's coming in, if you have mutual customers, MPS, and those sorts of things, but also evaluate them on those behavioral aspects. So are they easy to work with? Do they have marketing resources? How aligned is the target audience? What would that brand alignment look together, and those sorts of things? And that will really set you up for productive conversations with your partner and with your internal teams as well.
That's really great. Chris, anything you'd like to add?
Well, there's so many good points made already. Like, what can I add? No, I think I'm always a good fan of a framework because it allows you to do something repeatedly with excellence, right? So I think if you strike up and you want to strike up a new partnership, keep the triangle in that partnership in mind. And the triangle being the two companies trying to figure out how to work together, and the success factors, we've just spoken about some of them as well. But the customer is the third angle of this triangle, right? So it needs to add value, what you're doing, for every single one involved in that triangle. And it needs to be clear what the gives and gets are in this transaction. And resources, I'll say that again, it doesn't just have to be money that you're bringing to the table. It can be the brand, it can be the user base, it can be a really engaged user base, right? That's tremendous value. And as I said, if you've done your homework, you can lead with those things, right? So putting that on the table, establishing what is a fair trade of gives and gets that we can establish, that then is the baseline. Then is like, why are we partnering in the first place? What are we creating that doesn't exist already, right? We don't want to just replicate something, because then the third angle of this triangle will just go to the individual companies and just do what they could have done anyway, right? But what is it that you too can accomplish that merges something in a way that isn't done before, right? So I'll give an example. If you take a CRM, for example, and pair a CRM with digital advertising as well, and infuse that first-party data in a way with your digital advertiser, you can really take your strategies to a whole new level. And an advertiser can't do that with just one of the two partners, but it's fantastic what you can accomplish together. So the other thing as well that I'll say is, if you're striking up a really good partnership, if you want to strike up a good partnership, is to focus on the timeline and the horizon of this partnership. Like, a short-term partnership can be fantastic, but it might have very different KPIs to a long-term strategic alliance. A short-term partnership could have upper funnel metrics like reach and impressions and clicks and open rates, and you might throw a celebrity into the mix as well, and you've got a whole big bang marketing splash. But that's wrapped up then after a few months. If you're trying to craft a sustainable partnership for many, many years, you also need to set expectations very differently in your own company as well, right? Like, KPIs will be different. You need to not only engage your partnerships team, but rope in the adjacent business units. Like, it's then marketing, it's also the support teams, the eng teams, the product teams. You need to have a stakeholder prepped in all of those areas, because then if your partnerships team comes and says, this is great, we want to do this because here's the why, and this is value added for all of us, and then but then it's like, well, how do you turn that into action? You need the stakeholder alignment beforehand. You need to set expectations, and the same with its internal partnerships then as well. Understand what their KPIs are and see how that partnership and the activities required rope in to their KPIs as well.
That's really, really great.
I just want to jump in here for one second. I think that is an amazing point. And there's one thing that Chris said that I want to highlight, where it doesn't all have to be about money. Like, we have smaller companies come to HubSpot and say, hi, how can I partner with you? We're not going to say, well, you don't make X amount of MRR, so you can't do that. There are lots of ways to partner with HubSpot, but think about what it is that your unique product can offer, because sometimes it's not like, oh, I don't have 100,000 customers, so I can't partner with you. It's, hey, I can add HubSpot's offering into my nurturing stream. Okay, like, my ears are perking up, right? Or we have a series of events. We can make HubSpot one of the features in the events. We usually get X amount of attendees. It's an evergreen event that lives on our site and picks up SEO over time. We can feature HubSpot in that way. Okay, like, that sounds really good, right? Or we're growing X amount of users per year, and we think that we're going to get X amount of traffic per year on this landing page that we can build for you, that we're going to put in our customer onboarding. All right, like, that sounds, really good. So it's not always about we can contribute X amount of money, or we can, send an email to whatever, 1 million people. Like, that's not necessarily the big get. Each company can offer something unique. It's just finding what that thing is for your product.
These are all really great points. So next question, starting with Daniel. What are some potential obstacles in partnerships, and what do you do to overcome those?
This is my favorite question, especially with partner marketing. As we know, not every company has that resource, or it's shared, among other responsibilities. So I think Chris was just talking about this in his last answer, is really losing track of your why. Why are you doing this? And that's been a big obstacle that I've encountered and seen and over my career. And I think my favorite mantra to kind of combat that is KISS, or keep it simple, stupid. A lot of times, we have great ideas, or we have in partnerships, hey, let's bring in this person, let's bring in that. And sometimes it makes a ton of sense, and it's great. But at the core, you need to go back to the why you're doing this, and what measurable result do you want to get out of each activity, each partnership. Different partnerships may bring different things, different activities will bring different things. So you really need to start with that measurable activity, your goal, and the why. So if you find yourself kind of focusing, hey, I want to do a webinar, it's like, take a step back. Why do you want to do that webinar? But more importantly, what's the result or the goal you want to get from that? Bringing a bunch of people in a panel like today, great, but we want to give you guys some actionable tips the takeaway at the end of the day. So really getting back to that why. I think that my second point is just breakdowns in communication. This one's really simple. This happens all the time. Emails or meetings, things get lost. You people are really busy. So make sure you're taking good notes. Make sure you're recapping emails with actionable next steps. What does each person have to do? Who owns which part of the campaign or the project or whatever we're working on? And my little pro tip for that, if you use Slack and your organization allows it, get connected on Slack through the Slack connector with other organizations. It's awesome. You can have those kind of in-between communications that are more instantaneous, or like, hey, I thought, did you say this in our last call, or I have it written down as this, and that just has worked wonders for me.
That's really great. Margot.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that. I think like one of the bigger obstacles that I find is relationships fizzling out. So you're starting on a campaign, one thing goes out, and then you're kind of like, all right, well, what do we do from here? Use your Asana or ClickUp, or if you use like Google Sheets or whatever, to plan out, 3 quarters out. Hey, okay, this is what we have one overarching goal with this partner to get, new signups, or to get 1,000 new signups every month, whatever it is. Based on that overarching goal, like Daniel said, phase out your campaigns to say, all right, Q1, we're going to do A thing, B thing. Based on that, Q2, we're going to do this thing, right? And make sure that you have, like, I've got my marketing things I can do, I've got my sales enablement, customer success enablement that I can do, other things that I can do, and then phase that out and share that with your partner so that every week when you come together, you say, all right, well, we did this thing, how did it do? Next, we're going to do this thing, here's what we're going to do to make it better than the last, right? And don't be afraid of like a postmortem. We call them postmortem, like a campaign has gone out. Review it honestly with your partner. How did this do? Maybe we drove a good amount of leads. Maybe we did not hit our goal. Why is that? How are we going to get better? Because it's a partnership. It's two folks coming together, right? We're both trying to hit our goals. Really do a clear, honest postmortem. It's going to help you a lot. And say, listen, like we're iterating. Just because something didn't work right now doesn't mean it's not going to work next time when we do it a little bit differently. But if things constantly don't work, then hey, maybe we should like hit pause on this and it's not the right opportunity. Don't keep going on an opportunity that's not serving you once you've given it a solid amount of time. So I think that's definitely an obstacle to work around. And then the other thing I would say is like a lot of times we try and work with these giant companies because they have these big names and we want to be featured in tandem with this big name. Just because they're a huge partner does not mean that they're going to be a good partner for you. So focus on the relationships that are actually driving your goals. Just because you want to work with partner ABC, whatever, if they don't have the resources to help you hit your goals, it's going to be a waste of your time. And your time is your most important asset.
I think that's really, really important. Those very honest feedback loops. I hear that time and again for why success happens, even if it doesn't happen week by week. That's really good. Chris, would you like to add anything to that?
I like that. Time is the most important asset. I like that a lot. Tying on to the complexity aspect, keep it simple, stupid, right? The acronym, that really resonates as well. You don't need a really fancy deck. You don't need time in that. And we all know how many hours it can take to get the most polished presentation. But then you forgot to talk to one of the important stakeholders and you can't actually move forward. You need to take a step back. And so why did you even do that, right? So balancing the complexity with knowing actually what people need to sit at the table, I think is really important. And the big obstacle is thinking just because you're busy, you're actually also you're productive. You're not. It's a different thing. I think then at the beginning, there's many obstacles, but at the beginning of a partnership, I think it's good to also not be over-promising things. Be realistic with what can be done and also what should be done. Not only, not just because you don't need to go in with all guns blazing with all of your GTM channels every single time. You should be more precise and surgical and say, look, this is a product integration, let's say, that we're building. Which channels typically work for this kind of approach, right? Is it a webinar? Is it an email? Is it an in-product notification? Is it maybe some in-person brainstorming, some interaction? Well, if you've got the data, just like Margot said, you can pull from the buffet of GTM channels in that case instead of just going everything all out. And the last one I'll touch on is the expectation setting. Like, if you're leading the conversations, of course you're relaying the perspectives from your internal teams as well, but at some point, I've seen things go really badly sideways because you've operated in this silo from, let's say, partnership to partnership team, but then you should have actually brought the marketing team into that conversation at some point and said, does that actually work, what we're trying to do here? You know, is that reasonable? Is it, you know, feasible? Does it actually, is it proportional? That stuff solves a lot of things because at the end of the day, it's a team effort, a partnership, right? And you need to come together and the question needs to be, what can we do? And just bring people together. That solves all sorts of issues. Just talking stuff through and creating some unstructured time, some brainstorming, just some exploration together. You'll move a lot faster at certain areas versus trying to, you know, build that perfect pitch and force the way through.
I know we have 1 minute left. I'm just going to say one more thing. To back on what Chris mentioned, a lot of times when you are trying to push for new activities from your partners, and you have a partner manager on the phone with you, they don't actually know what the goals are of different marketing teams in that organization. So like Chris said, getting those marketing people or salespeople or whatever into that call with you and asking them, hey, marketing person, like, what is the number that you're trying to hit? And then saying, okay, well, we can help you hit that number in this way. A lot of times partnership people don't have that visibility into their goals. And when you bring a marketing or salesperson in and ask them about what they're trying to do, all of a sudden they're like, oh, this person actually wants to help me and like work with me. And you uncover opportunities that you wouldn't know were otherwise there.
These are really, really great. And I know we're right up on time. We wanted to give you guys some takeaways and then some action items. So, you know, these are a few here. Chris, did you want to comment on any extras that you wanted to add on?
Yeah, I love the second acronym here, the FIRE. It's not with an I, though, not with a Y. So key takeaways, do your homework, just dig into what you can bring to the table, but then that not only treats your prospective partner with respect, but it also positions you in a really strong way, and ultimately the customer, the end customer, will see the value as well, because everyone in the triangle is clear on what value is being driven, how folks are fairly compensated for the resources they're bringing to the table, and yeah, leading with the why, but also understanding stakeholders, and we've mentioned this externally as well as internally, just bringing people together as necessary. You'll really drive things forward effectively like that.
That's really great. And Margot, did you want to add anything to these, or?
No, mine's up there.
That's great. And then the last piece here, we have the action items. As we roll into, you know, the breaks and other sessions, you know, we're ready to answer your questions at that point. We know with the panel there wasn't time for a Q&A. But Chris, did you want to add on top of this in any way?
See, the first one is really important. I like the template. Again, it's a structured way of doing things. And if anyone is here ever had to do some kind of routine task that had a lot of different, separate, small components, if you can just have a template that outlines what needs to be done, you're like, okay, check, check, check. It's a waterproof approach, right? Because most things will get done. And the TAM piece here, digging into that, is similar to audience size, right? But understanding your own audience, what they care about, is essential. If you haven't done that yet, maybe start interviewing your user base. It's like, what is working, what is not working? You know, what could we be doing better? And well, that's a great starting point to say, maybe I can find a partnership that will allow our business to elevate the area that is not going so well, instead of doubling down on our own. So digging into your own audience, but then as you're going along with that, what are your own goals? Some of the best meetings I've been in with partners have actually just been then running us through what different business units they are and what they care about. Well, that's a great starting point. You can just talk so much more effectively because it also allows the others to cut out silly questions because you're like, well, okay, that won't even make any sense, but that might. You know, so maybe start building out a matrix with what they're incentivized on or what they're currently working on. Because if you then go to those teams and say, you know, we've got a good idea, great.
Well, this is great. I want to thank the panelists. These are some big, powerful companies. that can help you guys out a lot. Sometimes it feels overwhelming to figure out how to partner with them. I hope they made it more approachable.
Well,
They are more approachable as well. But thank you guys all.